Hi, I'm Chef Ange. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my kitchen. On today's episode, I want to show you a super easy and delicious lean protein. This is my garlic and herb pork tenderloin in a cast iron pan. This is done from start to finish in a single pan. It's really easy, super delicious, and a pretty healthy protein to eat for dinner. Complete with a sauce and really nice garlic. You're really gonna love this dish. For the full ingredient list and directions, check the description box below. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you can find out when I drop new recipe and tip videos every week. Let's get cooking.
So we're going to start off with these two pork tenderloins, and I'm going to make two because I just like to make a lot of protein at once, because after we're done eating dinner, I like to store protein so I can eat it throughout the week for lunch and maybe another dinner another night. And we're going to be using this hotel pan, and this makes seasoning like large pieces of meat like pork tenderloin and ribs really easy. So if you don't have any of these, definitely get some. We're going to season the outside of these with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and try not to be stingy with the seasoning here because you can't get the seasoning on the inside of this. It's only going to go on the outside, so make sure that it's enough. And then we're going to put a little bit of smoked paprika. That's going to add a smoky flavor. It's also going to add a nice color when we throw these for the sear. I'm going to put these aside after I mix them really nicely by hand, and that's just making sure that they're well coated. And while these are marinating and coming up to room temperature, we're going to make a deglazing liquid with some white wine. I'm using beef stock here. You can also use chicken stock, and a little bit of white wine vinegar for some acid. Now we're going to also chop up a shallot really finely, and that's going to help add some flavor to our sauce. And we're also going to clip the root end off about like 20 cloves of garlic here. So if you're a garlic lover, you're going to love this. And if you're a garlic hater, sorry. Garlic is life in this kitchen. So now we'll get a cast iron pan really hot over high heat. And you can see that this pan is smoking hot. And I want to make sure it's really hot so when I throw these tenderloins in there, we're going to get a good sear on the outside of them. And we're just going to let them sit there. I'm going to make sure that I don't mess with them too much. And after a few minutes on that high heat, you can see that we got really nice color on the outside of these. Tenderloins, usually when you cook them, they got about 3 sides to flip. So now we're going to let this sit on the second side. We're going to get a sear, and then we'll do the same thing on the third side, getting nice color around all sides. So in go that metric ton of garlic cloves, and I'm just sprinkling them around the outside. Now my pan is still on really high heat, and that's just going to get a little bit of color and cook down those shallots and the garlic cloves. I don't have to fully cook anything because this is all going to go inside the oven. So now I'm going to pour in that deglazing liquid, and that's going to start to reduce. It's also going to start to pick up a lot of the flavors that are inside the pan. Now we're going to add some more flavor by just sprinkling some thyme and some rosemary over the top of these. They don't actually have to be in the sauce. They just need to be on top. A lot of these floral herbs will give their flavor off into the dish just by being there, and we're going to trap all that flavor in there and keep the heat inside by putting some aluminum foil around the outside of this. I probably should have turned the heat off before I did this so I don't burn my gloves. And now this is going to go in a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until the pork hits an internal temperature of 155. And that usually happens in about 20 to 25 minutes for your average size tenderloin. I'm going to let this cool down just for a few minutes, and then we're going to pull this off. And you can see that these are cooked perfectly. The herbs are a little wilted, so I know that they gave their flavor into the dish. And I'm just checking the internal temperature of this, and these are right at 155, right where I like my lean pork. So now we're going to discard the herbs because they've already done their job. And I just want to make sure that there's no woody stems inside the dish after. If you miss one or two, that's okay, but take out as many as you can by hand. We're going to transfer the pork tenderloin over to a cutting board, and we're just going to let this rest for a few minutes until the temperature cools down a little bit. And then we're going to take a really sharp knife, and we're going to slice these into about 1-inch thick pieces. Pork tenderloin is really juicy, and it eats like a little bit steak-like, so you want to make sure that you don't cut this super thin. I like to cut these nice and thick so you can really enjoy the full texture of this beautiful cut of meat. Now we're going to put those back in the pan inside that sauce to develop. We're going to sprinkle some fresh chopped parsley on the outside to really finish this dish and give it a nice pop of color. And just like that, these tenderloins are done and ready to hit the dinner table.
And I love to serve it right inside the cast iron. Cast iron's great because it helps keep the food warm before you're eating it. And it also just looks really nice. But let's eat one of these and let's see how we did. So let's check out one of these centerpieces. I mean, this is super duper tender. It's not overcooked, so it's juicy. If your pork's overcooked, it's just because you overcooked it. And now let's take some of these garlic cloves and put them right on top. Once the garlic cooks like this, it's not gonna be as pungent. It's gonna have a really, really nice mellow flavor. But let's not forget to get that juice. Oh boy, this looks good. And you know, pork gets such a bad rap because people think like pork is just bacon, but pork tenderloin is super tender, super lean, super healthy. So I got a nice garlic on there. Make sure we'll get plenty of juice. Wow. I mean, the flavor, super deep, really savory. This is a really, really nice, simple protein to make on a weeknight. Gotta get that juice. Hold on a second. I need to finish this before it gets cold. This is so good. Well, I'm Chef Ange. This is my garlic and herb pork tenderloin in the cast iron pan. Let me know how yours comes out. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.